Hey guys, in this video we are going to work on a drag and drop feature to add the ROM images. So let's try to drag some images here into this box. Let's drag one or more images. When we try to drag the text inside the box changed, it is green now. If we drop, it is uploaded automatically and it is checked here. That means the step has finished. And if we delete them all, it is back to the old state that is still not finished. And now if we added it, it is again completed. And when we delete, it is back uncompleted. So let's get started. Let's go to the components, add rooms, and let's go to our component, add images. And here let's start building this component. We are going to use paper component from Material UI. Let's import it. And let's style it here. Cursor pointer, so the user can understand that he can click here. Background, let's give it a gray background. And the color different to gray grade. Border 1 pixel dashed, also gray. And when we hover over it, we need to change the border to be solid. And let's add the parent of this drop zone. Let's style it, give it padding 16 pixel. And the files input. We need here to install a package, react-dropzone. And here let's create a state, files and set files. And the default is an empty array. This state will hold our files. Here let's import the hook, use Dropzone from the package, react-dropzone. And let's create a function here on drop. This function will receive the files after the user drop the files inside the drop zone. Let's put it inside use callback from React. And we will receive accepted files. And we will set our state files with these accepted files. And for testing, let's console log these files. Now let's use our hook. This hook will retain an object. It contains the props of the parent div and the props of the input of the files and the state of dragging if the user is still holding the images. This state will control the text inside the drop zone box. And let's pass this hook our function on drop, and which file should be accepted. Here we will pass the object. It will accept all kind of images and we need them to be in an array. And let's spread the object retained by getRoot props in the parent div. And also we are going to spread the object retained by getInputProps function. And here let's use isDragActive. In case it is still active, we will show a different message. Let's put it inside paragraph. Let's style this paragraph and give it color green. And the text will be drop the files here. And in the other case, we will just show drag and drop some files here, or you can click to upload files. And outside this condition, we will show always this message: images with these extensions will be accepted. And let's save and check. Let's go to images step. Here's our box. If we try to drag the images inside it, the text changed to green. Drop the files here. If we drop, we can check the console and we can see our files here. Let's go back. We don't need this console log again. It's just for testing. Now let's use our last project, because we need to upload these files into Firebase. Let's use our progress list. Let's copy it and create folder for that. Call it progress list. Inside it, our component progress list. Let's paste it here and save. And let's copy the other two components. This item, we are going to use it for every file. Progress item.js. This component will be responsible to upload every file into Firebase. And circular progress with label. It is the one will show the progress percentage. Let's create a component for that. And let's paste it here. This is just to show us the circular progress with the percentage. Let's go back to our progress list. Sadly, the list of Material UI is not responsive. We need to add some styling to make it responsive. We are going to use the automatic autofill in the grid. Let's use the same class used by Material UI. And let's change grid template columns. We are going to add repeat, autofill, and min-max. The minimum width is 250 pixel and the maximum is 1 fragment. That means the whole width, and it is important to replace the Material UI styling. Let's save it and let's go to the progress item. We don't need to use auth of Firebase or the Firestore. And let's change the path of our function. We need to copy this function from our last project. Let's go back and let's go to Firebase, and we are going to use upload file progress. Let's copy it. Let's go to our folder Firebase here. Create a new file. Let's call it upload file progress. And let's paste it here. This function will upload our images into Firebase. Let's delete this here and replace it with our current user inside our state. And we need the dispatcher to change the state of our images in the context provider. We are going to add that global state. Let's import this hook use value from our context provider. This is the same, but we don't need this document. We don't need to add any document into Firebase Store. Let's just dispatch to change the state of our images in the global context. Type update images and payload is the URL we received from the Firebase. Let's go and create this state. Let's add it here. Images default value is empty array. And let's go to the reducer and create this action to update this state. In case update images, we will retain the same state, and images will be the old images in the state, and we will add our payload here, which is the URL we received from Firebase. Let's save it and go back. We need to replace this alert because our new alert is different. Let's just dispatch to update alert. Type update alert. And payload is an object, open true, severity error, and the message will be the error message that we need to show to the user. Let's check if we need to change anything here. Here let's change gallery to rooms and the user ID to ID instead of UID. Now let's save and go to add images to add our component progress list. Let's add here React fragment and drag this inside it. And let's add our component progress list and pass our files inside the state. These are the files we received in our progress list, and we send them one by one to our progress item component, and this component will be responsible for uploading them one by one to Firebase. Let's check. Let's go to add and to our step images, and let's try to drag some images here. It's working. The image is uploaded into Firebase, but we need to show them here in a separate list. We need to create a new component for that. Let's go to add images folder and create a new component. We will call it images list. And let's build this component. Let's use ImageList component from Material UI. Let's copy these props here to make it responsive. And let's import our images from the global state. These are our images we have already uploaded. And the dispatcher, because we need that when we delete this image. We need also the current user because the current user ID is included in the path inside Firebase. We need that when we delete this file from Firebase. Now let's loop through these images. We will receive the image, it is the URL of the image, and the index, and let's use image list item. This is from Material UI as well. Key is our index, and one column and one row for every image. Image, the source is the URL in the variable image. Alt rooms, unloading lazy, and the height, let's give it 100% to fill the whole height of the row. And let's add the image list item bar. This bar will be on top of the image, so we can add our closing icon. Position top, and let's give it background. It will be linear gradient, so we need to change the opacity of this gradient gradually. It started from top to bottom. It will start with 0.7 opacity in the beginning and move to 0.3 when it is 70% of the height, and completely transparent when it is 100% of the height. And let's now add our icon. It is icon button. Let's give it a color white. And on a click, we are going to create a new function. We're going to call it handle delete, and we are going to pass it the image URL. And let's use cancel icon from Material UI icons. Let's create this function here. It is a sync function because we are going to communicate with Firebase, and it will receive our image link. Let's save for now and go to add images component. And let's add our component images list here. Let's save and check how it looks. Here's our images, and here's our icons to delete these images. Let's try to drag and drop more images. They are all here, and it is responsive as well. Select by clicking, and it's the same result. It is working here. Now let's work on deleting these images. Let's go to images list and to our function handle delete. We will just dispatch here to delete image. We need to add this action to our reducer, and we will pass the image URL as a payload. Let's go to the reducer to add this action. Let's copy this action and paste it here, and change the action to be delete image. And replace this with state.images.filter. We will just retain the images that it is not the same as our payload. Let's save and go back to our ImageList component. And here we are going to extract the image name inside the Firebase Storage. We used this way before in our last project to extract the image name from the URL. We can split by current user ID plus %2f and get the second part of the split, and we split that again with the question mark and get the first part, and this is the name of the image inside Firebase Storage. Now let's try to delete this image. We need our function delete file from our last project. Let's go back. And copy this function. Create a new file inside Firebase folder. Delete file. And let's paste that function. And let's use it here. We need to pass the whole path. It is rooms/current user.id. And the image name we've just extracted from the link. Let's just check that the path is the same as the one when we uploaded the image. It is the same. And let's just console log the error. We are not going to stop our execution process in case the deletion of this file has failed. We are not going to bother the user as well by the error message. Because we updated the context, the images in the state have gone. Let's try to upload new images. And let's try to delete. Let's check our console if there is an error. There is no errors. That means the deletion process was successful. Now let's work on completing our step when there is images added. Let's go back to our add room component because this is where our steps are. This is our steps here. Let's import our images from our state. Using our hook useValue. We are going to use effect. And this use effect will depend on our state images. Every time there is a change on this state or this array, we are going to check the length of this array. Let's create a new function to change the state of the step. Let's call it setComplete. This function will receive the index and the status if it is true or false. The index is the index of the images inside the state steps. We are going to use this set steps. We will receive the old steps. We are going to only change the step related to this index. Steps index.completed equals status. This could be true or false. And we will spread the same steps inside an array and return it back. If we just retain steps without spreading them in a new array, the React will consider it as no change happened on this array. The index of the images inside steps state is 2. Let's check to make sure. It is 2. So we are going to check if it is completed or not. In this case, we are going to check if it is false. Only in case it is false, we are going to change the state to true. And in case there is no images, we will check if it is already true. We are going to change it to false. We don't need to change it all the time, just in case the new state is the opposite of the old state. Now let's save and check. Let's go to images. And let's add a new image. Now it is completed, it is checked. Let's delete it. It is now not completed. Let's drag and drop many images. They are uploaded and it is completed. If we delete the state, still completed. Unless we deleted all of them, it is now uncompleted. Everything is working perfectly. In our next video, we are going to work on adding details and adding location for the room. So see you guys in our upcoming video.